This is 5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
Right now at 4, dramatic scenes continue to play out at anti-war protests on dozens of college campuses nationwide. Overnight, police in New York and Los Angeles moved in, hoping to quell escalating violence and clear school buildings occupied by pro-Palestinian protesters. Thanks for being here at 4. I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. The protesters are calling for their universities to divest from companies with financial ties to Israel amid its war with Hamas. NBC's Alice Barr reports the Biden administration continues to push for a ceasefire.
A potentially watershed moment in the college campus protests against the war in Gaza. Columbia University overnight calling in the New York Police Department to clear the encampment and the building pro-Palestinian protesters had taken over. More than 100 people were arrested, a mix of students and outside agitators who New York's mayor said had co-opted the movement.
Many people thought that this was just a natural evolution of a protest. It was not.
No.
These were professionals that were here.
Columbia's president saying the break-in of Hamilton Hall raised safety risks to an intolerable level, drawing a line between a proud tradition of protest and, quote, acts of destruction, not political speech. At the University of Wisconsin in Madison today, police clashing with and arresting protesters as they cleared that encampment. And overnight, Los Angeles police breaking up violent confrontations at UCLA between pro-Palestinian and counter-protesters. While at George Washington University in D.C., protests have been largely peaceful, though some students have been suspended.
This is going to be a long fight, but we're in this for the long haul, and we're going to do what it takes until we see divestment.
Even if it could potentially cost your academic career or others who are out here.
Yeah, I think this movement is bigger than any of us and more powerful than any of us.
House Republicans meeting with GW University leaders today as a student-led movement becomes a political flashpoint. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And happening 2 hours from now, pro-Palestinian demonstrators are expected to gather at St. Louis University. You're taking a live look now from SLU, where that rally will happen at 6 o'clock. Tonight's protest comes days after a demonstration at Washington University. That's where police arrested 100 people. Like WashU, the SLU campus is private property. St. Louis police say they will respond to requests from university leaders to help maintain a safe environment. And this afternoon, the St. Louis mayor and police department issuing a joint statement saying, quote, it remains our top priority to ensure that all members of the community are safe in the event of physical altercations, damage to school property, or harassment of students, staff, or faculty. SLMPD officers are prepared to engage to ensure safety. Be sure to stay with 5 on your side for continuing coverage of all of these college campus protests. If you text the word protest to 314-425-5355, we'll send you a link.
Well, this spring will not only go down as a warm one, but a wet one. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell here with the Weather First forecast. Sounds like we probably won't need to run the sprinkler for the next little while. Scott.
You know, we had over 8 inches of rain for the month of April, so definitely piling it on in St. Louis, and there is more to come. But this evening, at this point, the radar is quiet. Can't guarantee it's going to stay that way, though, for everybody. Right now, you're looking at Arnold with our weather camera, starting to see a little more sunshine break through the clouds, and also off in the distance, some of those clouds growing just a little bit. Nothing showing up on the radar screen around St. Louis, but we have a boundary down to our south. That is the focus for the potential of some development here southwest of St. Louis. So the area to watch, really south and southwest of town. That's what we'll be watching as we head through this evening. So in the next hour or two, specifically between 5 and 6:30, we do expect to see some development of these isolated thunderstorms to our southwest. Some lightning, some brief downpours, a few additional storms try to develop as that front tries to work back to the north. Most of us are not going to see rain outside of the metro area, but in the metro area, if you get under one of these, you could definitely get under a downpour, and the otherwise main threat would be from some lightning. So there's that chance for evening showers and thunder, but limited rainfall and coverage overall. Widespread showers, though, are arriving for Thursday night. That'll take us into very early Friday morning, and there's even more rain chances for the weekend ahead. So a lot to talk about when we see you in about 12 minutes.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Scott. Right now, a fundraiser is wrapping up at a McDonald's in North St. Louis County.
And part of today's sales are going to a 15-year-old employee who was seriously hurt when a man punched and stumped her in the parking lot. Our Justina Cornell was at that fundraiser today. And Justina, how is that teen doing?
Well, Brian K., 15-year-old Araya Lynch is about to have a second surgery for her broken nose. She's also been having head pains. Now, just last month, the Hazelwood East student was named Employee of the Month at this McDonald's on Parker Road. Her coworkers tell me she's sweet, a hard worker, and helpful. On April 8th, police say 25-year-old Johnny Ricks was a customer and got upset. A video circulating shows a man who police say is Ricks grab her by the hair and then stomp on her head. As she gets up, police say Ricks swung at her again, hitting her in the head. Now, Lynch hasn't returned to work, but her coworkers are thinking of her as her 16th birthday approaches this week.
When I first seen what happened, it was like a rage moment because it was like, Araya is so sweet. That's like what I kept saying. I was like, Araya is so sweet. Like, she do not deserve it, at all.
Right now, Johnny Ricks is still in jail. He was initially charged with second-degree assault. However, last week, that charge was upgraded to first-degree assault. Now, the courts say it reflects the severity of the injury.
Justina Cornell reporting. Well, within just the last hour, testimony wrapped up in the Thomas Kinworthy murder trial. He is accused of killing St. Louis police officer Tamaris Bohannon back in 2020. Jurors listened to 8 days of testimony, much of it focusing on whether Kinworthy should be found not guilty by mental defect. Today, prosecutors called a psychologist to the stand.
The defendant presented with a very theatrical, dramatic, what felt like a performance at the beginning of the interview. I've worked for 12 years at an inpatient psychiatric hospital. I've conducted almost 1,300 forensic evaluations of individuals, many of whom have severe mental illness, and that presentation was atypical.
Now that testimony is wrapped up, closing arguments expected to begin in the morning. The jury will get the case after that.
Right now, there's a call to help honor a fallen local Marine. Sergeant Colin Arslanbus died in a parachute accident during a training mission last month. The Fort Zumwalt West graduate's body is expected to return home Friday afternoon. His remains will arrive at Lambert Airport around 12:30 and be taken to Bowie Funeral Home in St. Charles. You are asked to line the funeral procession route along Interstate 70 to support Sergeant Arslanbus and his family. A new honor for a Mizzou legend who's celebrating the basketball icon known as Stormin' Norman.
And it's a local favorite when it comes to hanging out. We have a sneak peek for you at the new sculptures you'll see at City Garden this month.
Florida's ban on most abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy now in effect. We'll hear from those on both sides of the intense debate.